Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping right into Jordan Peele's incredibly complex and frankly terrifying horror film, Us. It's a movie that takes the classic American family and turns them into their own absolute worst nightmare.
When the Wilson family finds themselves face to face with their own twisted doubles, this is the only answer they get. It's just a single, chilling line, but it's the key that unlocks the entire mystery of the film. So to really get what it means, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay, so to understand the nightmare that's happening right now, we first need to rewind. We have to look at this one single traumatic moment from the past that really sets the whole thing in motion and just casts this dark shadow over everything that comes next.
So it all starts right here, way back in 1986. A little girl, young Adelaide, wanders into a funhouse, and in there, she has an encounter that is so terrifying it literally renders her speechless for years. Fast forwards to today, she's an adult with her own family, but coming back to that exact same place, well, it brings all that old fear bubbling right back up to the surface. And that fear that she's buried for so long, it's about to become a horrifying reality. That very night, 4 silent figures just appear in the family's driveway. It's a moment that kicks off one of the most unique and unsettling home invasions in horror movie history.
Right, and this is where the movie just lays its cards on the table. This is its terrifying core concept. The monsters aren't some strangers from the outside. They aren't hiding under the bed. They look exactly like you. The enemy is, quite literally, us. Now these doubles, they're called the Tethered, and they are just these distorted, broken mirrors of the Wilsons. You know, where Adelaide is a loving protector, her double Red is this chilling, almost prophetic speaker. Where the dad, Gabe, is kind of goofy and harmless, his double Abraham is pure brute force. Each one of the Tethered is like a dark, repressed version of their sunny, surface-dwelling counterpart.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just about one family. No way. The Wilsons pretty quickly figure out that this is happening everywhere. The Tethered are rising up in this massive, coordinated attack all across the country, and they're forming this giant human chain, which is this really sinister callback to that big Hands Across America charity event from 1986.
So naturally, this brings up the big question, right? Where on earth did these doppelgangers even come from? Well, Adelaide's double, Red, she's the only one who can actually speak, and she's the one who's going to give us the horrifying backstory. Red explains that the Tethered were actually the result of some failed government experiment. The goal was to control the population, but it went wrong. They were basically created as these soulless puppets, and when the project was scrapped, they were just abandoned in this huge network of underground tunnels to be forgotten. And this just paints such a horrific picture of their existence. Just think about it. Every single joy experienced up on the surface, opening a Christmas gift, eating a hot meal, a happy day at the beach, was mirrored below by this empty, painful pantomime. They lived as nothing but shadows, forced to eat raw rabbits while their counterparts up above got to enjoy the sun.
So, what do they want? Well, their motivation is terrifyingly simple. They believe that the only way for them to break this psychic connection, the only way to claim a life for themselves, is to find their other half and kill them. This isn't just murder, it's a revolution that's been born from decades of pure suffering.
Okay, let's get to the climax, because this is where the movie delivers a twist that completely redefines everything we've just seen. Just when you think you've figured out who the heroes and villains are, Jordan Peele just pulls the rug right out from under you.
So Adelaide confronts Red down in the tunnels where it all started. And after this brutal, deeply personal battle, Adelaide manages to kill Red. She rescues her son Jason, and the family is finally reunited. It really feels like this hard-won victory, The nightmare finally seems to be over.
But as Adelaide is driving her family away to safety, a memory starts to surface. A flashback suddenly takes us right back to that funhouse in 1986, and it shows us the true horror of what actually went down that day.
And here it is, the reveal that changes everything. The woman we've been rooting for this entire time, Adelaide, she's actually the doppelganger. She was the one who attacked the original Adelaide all those years ago and took her place. The villain, Red, was the real girl, trapped underground her entire life, her voice warped by all that rage and trauma. Our hero was the original monster all along.
Man, that shocking reveal is what unlocks the film's really powerful social commentary, because this isn't just a story about one family anymore. It's a story about an entire country.
The film is just this brilliant social allegory. First off, the title itself. Us is a homophone for US, which immediately reframes the whole story as a critique of America. The horror here isn't just about jump scares, it's about the terror of facing a hidden truth, that the American dream for those of us on the surface might be built directly on the American nightmare of those trapped below. The tethered are literally the nation's buried sins come to life, a forgotten, silenced underclass whose suffering has been ignored for way too long.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The director himself, Jordan Peele, confirmed this. He explained that the film is fundamentally about American privilege. It's about the consequence of ignoring the fact that our prosperity often comes at someone else's expense. We are, as he says, two sides of the same coin.
Ultimately, Us leaves us with this one haunting final thought. It forces us to look in the mirror and question the comfortable lives we lead, and to wonder about the shadows that we all cast. Because after all, if the monsters look exactly like us, who are the real monsters here?